Mornings move fast. Wake up informed with Morning Edition on WRDW Plus.
Well, good morning to you all, and thank you so much for staying with us here on WRDW Plus for this morning's Morning Edition. I'm Ashley Jones. Nick Proto has the morning off. Well, first things first, we want to get you weather ready for the day. Your first look meteorologist Tim Strong is standing by. Morning, Tim.
Morning, Ashley here. Just been looking at a little light rain. Clearing skies will happen here in the next few hours, but from about Burke County into Jenkins and Screven counties where we had a little bit of light rain for the last couple of hours, kind of stretches back up to southern Glasscock County and maybe around Louisville. You've had a couple of sprinkles. A little cold outside too. That sky kind of mostly cloudy, but we're seeing a few breaks in there between it all. Middle 30s, Thompson to Bushfield and Aiken right around 30 to 36. A couple of spots though are at the freezing mark. McCormick, Edgefield, Saluda and Aiken 29 to 32. We have upper 30s from Gibson, Louisville all the way where there may still be a little light rain, kind of a cold, chilly sprinkle out there in some of our southern counties. We're going to do the job to get these skies cleared up nicely for today. Start moving into the 50s just around noontime, and seasonal average highs for today. Another warm up though. That's going to continue through the middle of the week. We'll look at that shortly.
All right, Tim, thank you. Well, veterans in the CSRA will soon have a centralized resting place as a veteran cemetery is now coming to Augusta. After years in the making, Commissioner Don Clark announced $150 million in federal funding is now on the way for the project. Well, this morning, your Kaylee Nash is live outside of East Central Regional Hospital near the proposed site. And Kaylee, how did the city secure this funding for the cemetery?
Yes, I am currently standing outside near the East Central Regional Hospital on Tobacco Road in the area where the project is expected to be. And Commissioner Don Clark says that the funding was secured through a bipartisan funding bill. It's also something that he says veterans should be excited about, adding that the enthusiasm has already spread among the organizers who have been pushing for the cemetery for years. The project is still in its planning phases, but once construction begins, it's expected to take roughly a year to complete. Right now, there are only 2 veteran cemeteries in the entire state of Georgia. This site would become the 3rd, serving veterans across the region. A project Tomanisha Sanderlin says she never thought she'd live to see.
It was something that we never thought would happen, and we're very, very glad that our commissioners fought for it. This started way back with Mayor Bob Young, and so, you know, we see the fruits of the hard work that have been put in by so many. And, you know, it's a little bit sad because some of the veterans that fought for it are no longer here. But on the other hand, it's very, very, you know, it's very happy, I guess, for the ones that are, we know that this is where we're going to go. And it gives you a really good peace of mind.
And Commissioner Clark tells us that the architectural firm that designed all of the existing cemeteries in the area will serve as their technical advisors for this project. And as we continue to find out more information, we will keep you informed.
All right, Kaylee, I know a lot of folks have been waiting on this day. Thank you so much for that update. And South Carolina lawmakers are considering a bill that would heavily restrict hemp products. The bill would prohibit the sale of most products and limit where and how drinks with THC are sold. Lawmakers will discuss its version this week while the House sent its bill back to committee after a failed vote. Here in the CSRA, local businesses say the potential restrictions wouldn't just be a hit to business, but it could also close them. Jim Olson, a local CBD store owner, tells us it would take 80% of his inventory off the shelves. He adds that the majority of his customers are using his products for medical reasons rather than recreational.
You know, for the majority of the people that come in here, they're not looking for recreation. I would say 90% of the customers that come in here are battling pain, inflammation, sleep, or anxiety.
And he also says it isn't just businesses like his that'll close, but also hemp farms across the state, totaling in thousands of jobs that'll be lost. Lawmakers say the bill would keep hemp products away from kids and regulate the wide range of products now available. Well, data centers are a key reason you're able to have so much technology at your fingertips, but as more move into South Carolina, is raising some concerns from the public. Your South Carolina State House reporter Stephen Biddix explains what new guidelines lawmakers are proposing for these sites.
State senators held their first of several hearings on data centers. They say they hear the public's concern, but others bring up the point that it could bring an economic boost to rural areas.
And if we don't plan carefully, these demands constrain our local infrastructure.
After hearing public outcry about the increase of data centers in South Carolina, state senators are attempting for the first time to create new guardrails.
There are certain parts of South Carolina that clearly aren't suitable for data centers. For instance, the Ace Basin in Colleton County. There's lots of parts of South Carolina where they are suitable, but I think it's important that we have proper locations.
The Department of Commerce testified they don't track or incentivize them, but say estimates show there are 20 to 30 data centers in the state. These facilities use massive amounts of water for cooling. That's why the bill requires closed-loop water systems. It also adds the state to the permitting process to decide where they should go.
There are new technologies now, closed systems, where you can use evaporative water and use that same water over and over again, so you don't have to have massive amount of water use. This bill would require data centers to employ those best practices.
Another concern, protecting ratepayers from data center costs. Some suggest these sites should be self-reliant by producing their own power. Under the bill, centers would be required to pay for any new power generation.
That reduces strain on the grid, it improves resiliency, and it prevents infrastructure costs from being shifted to residential and small business customers.
While others say these centers can bring an economic boost to rural areas, like Will Williams, who discussed Meta's $800 million proposed center in Aiken County.
Well, 100 jobs are fantastic in Aiken County, too, or in Edgefield, or wherever. And they're paying $150,000 a year, and our average manufacturing wage is $80,000.
The hearing coincides with a group of bipartisan Colleton County lawmakers who signed onto this resolution, urging Colleton County to oppose a data center in the Ace Basin watershed. Reporting at the State House, I'm Stephen Biddix.
Well, kids across South Carolina could be seeing more locally grown foods on their plates at school, and that's thanks to a new program. Certified SC Cafeteria reimburses schools and districts for buying fruits, vegetables, grains, and honey from farms in the state. So far, officials say 67 schools and school districts have already signed up, totaling in 874 schools and more than 500,000 students. That includes Allendale, Edgefield, Saluda counties. The program also has an online tool to help farmers share product availability and other information with their buyers. We have a link to that on our website, WRDW.com. Well, an incident report from the Richmond County Board of Education Police is shedding some light on why a principal is on leave and was arrested. It says a school staffer from Josie High School accused Darius Presley of assault. They say it happened last year back in May. School system leaders also say he faces a simple battery charge. While these are the latest details, the investigation is still ongoing. Melissa Clark is taking over Priestley's responsibilities for now as a substitute principal. We received his personnel file as well, and it shows a letter from the HR department to Priestley about being put on administrative leave. The chief officer told him he displayed, quote, unprofessional behavior, end quote, and because of this, he would be on leave with pay for school officials to make a decision. Well, the HR officer wrote that could be a disciplinary action, a change in employment status, or more. She asked Priestley to cooperate with investigations and to stay away from school system property. Well, Josie High is also coming up in a separate matter. The Board of Education is responding to concerns about its possible closure. If board members approve the very latest consolidation plan, the school would become a college and career academy along with a middle school. Families want to make sure the legacy of T.W. Josie is preserved. A letter from the board says they want to show the Josie High community and alumni a draft of the plans should the closure be approved. The board says they are keeping an eye on how this could impact student athletes' futures. And then they intend to keep the student body and staff together wherever they go to school next. For now, the board says there will be a naming committee created for the Career and College Academy if approved, and it will be made up of Josie alumni, students, and more who would be in charge of upholding his legacy. Well, tonight is a chance to keep sharing your thoughts. The second public meeting on the consolidation plan will be at Barton Chapel Elementary School. It'll start at 6 o'clock. If you can't make it, your last chance is on Thursday at noon in the Board of Education building on Broad Street. Remember, Josie High is getting most of the attention here, but there are several other schools factored into this plan. The school system wants to close Barton Chapel Elementary School temporarily to rebuild the campus. They would like to close Jenkins White Elementary completely as well. Volunteers and North Augusta city leaders came together to help clean up Brick Pond Park over the weekend using trash bags. Even Mayor Britton Williams was out there helping. It comes as the city council tabled a vote on a potential land purchase for a cyber center right next to the park. Now, we did speak to one volunteer who tells us more on what the area means to the city and its neighbors.
It's such a beautiful place that a lot of people come and they want to build around it, and the impact of that you can see sort of around you with some of the building that's going on. So just trying to bring people attention to it being a beautiful place and it's worth protecting for the future.
And while the land purchase vote was tabled, leaders did approve an ordinance to bring fishing back to Brick Pond Park after a controversial decision to ban it. Well, we have an update this morning as the Aiken County School District is now responding to a 12-on-your-side investigation. Last week, we told you about a 6-year-old boy who wandered away from North Aiken Elementary and was able to get a mile into a nearby neighborhood. He was found thanks to neighbors and law enforcement, but reports say there was a considerable amount of time between his disappearance and the staff noticing that he was gone. And the child's mother tells us she wasn't made aware for more than an hour. Well, neither North Aiken Elementary or the Aiken County School System responded to requests for comment before our story aired. But last Friday, we heard back, saying in part, the staff working that day regrets what happened. It goes on to say, quote, staff members were placed on administrative leave until a thorough investigation was completed, and staff members have since been reinstated with additional safeguards for supervision and notification in place to further ensure the safety of students while outdoors, end quote. You can learn more about this incident on our website, WRDW.com, under the 12 on Your Side Investigates tab.